My involvement with Children's Fairyland came rather early in its development. Um, the Breakfast Club of Oakland had been one of the great sponsors of it, and it was really spearheaded by Bill Mott, who was the director of parks for Oakland, who eventually went on to become the National Park Director of the United States. A marvelous man, great imagination, and he had wanted these children's sets, which were just nursery rhyme sets with not much movement, not much animation, if any, to have a little life. So he had already installed at some of them a phonograph record machine, which would be turned on when somebody dropped in a nickel. And it just didn't work. And uh, when the records didn't work and the nickels were dropped in, people became very unhappy. And so he was looking around for an alternative. And at that time, I had a recording studio on Kearney Street, and so I had been working with a device called message repeaters, which were new at that time. They were tape recorders in which you put a small cartridge and it repeated over and over again, and could have a message of a couple of minutes in it. And so I was familiar with this and had done it for some advertising purposes for clients and so forth, and used this. So I had suggested, well, certainly we can use these instead of the phonograph record because they don't require rewinding, and so that's what good. But I said, I really don't think the idea of putting money in the coin slot is a good idea, because it's going to create vandalism, and people don't always have change, and if it doesn't work, they're going to be unhappy. So, and maybe if they only had a couple of 10-cent pieces, maybe they'd only play two or three of these, and we wanted to put them all around. So I suggested, why don't we make up something that we can sell to everyone who comes in, and let them go around and operate these talking boxes. And he thought that was a good idea, and he said, "You do it." Uh, so I thought, well, it ought to be something that would be in keeping with Children's Fairyland. And so the idea of the magic key to Fairyland was pretty obvious. And so it became a key. And I had it designed locally, and then made up a box and made it so that this key, when it was inserted, would turn on a switch, and that would operate the speaker and play the message. And we did that. And the agreement was that the Oakland Park Department would make the talking storybooks and put them up, the boxes and everything. And it was up to me to make the device that the key worked into, and the key. And gee, that was great, but I didn't have any money to make a key. So I borrowed $3,000 from my mother, and I paid her back many years later, and had a key made locally by a local plastics company, and we plated it gold so it would look nice, and it became the magic key to Fairyland. And that was started in 1957, I believe, and it's still going today, and I'm very proud of it.